Hello, my name is Dan Colgan, and welcome to day 16 of my December Christmas Carol Countdown. The carol I would like to look at today is Good King Wenceslas. The text of this was penned into this poetic format by hymn writer and Anglican priest John Mason Neale, known largely for the Palm Sunday hymn, All Glory, Laud, and Honor. Neale based this on the legend of King Wenceslas. Now, if you're not familiar with this carol, it takes us on a journey of King Wenceslas and his page, essentially traversing through a winter snow on the feast of Stephen to bring alms to the poor. It's worth noting that the feast of St. Stephen is December 26th, or the day after Christmas. It ends with a reminder, "Ye who now shall bless the poor shall yourselves find blessing." So researching this, Wenceslas was indeed a real person. He was a Duke of Bohemia, which is a region in what's now the Czech Republic. Saint Wenceslas I, or Wenceslav in Czech, was born in the year 911. He was posthumously declared a king and has come to be known as the patron saint of the Czech state. His story is an interesting one. At the age of 10, his father, Wenceslas, died. His grandmother, Ludmilla, became his regent. However, Wenceslas's own mother became very jealous of her mother-in-law, Ludmilla, and arranged to have her killed. She succeeded in just a few months, and Wenceslas's mother then became his regent. She instituted many measures against the Christians in the land. However, as soon as Wenceslas was 18, he undid much of what his mother had done and eventually exiled her out of the country. As Duke, he had received half of his father's kingdom, and he'd gained control over most of the government of that, and he was known to be very kind and generous, even forging alliances with neighboring countries and territories. However, his biggest enemy ended up being his tyrannical brother, Boleslas. In the year 935, when Wenceslas was only about 24 years old, he was martyred by his brother Boleslas. He was declared a martyr and saint immediately after his death. Now, throughout the ages, Wenceslas was always considered a good and a kind duke, or a good and a kind king. We have another legend that's reached some fame, and it states that a Count, Radislas, rose up in rebellion and marched against Wenceslas. Wenceslas said, "You don't need to do this," and sent him a peace letter. Radislas then said, "That is weak and cowardly," so the two armies ended up meeting in battle. When Wenceslas went out ahead of the rest of the troops and challenged Radislas to a single combat to try to avoid the bloodshed of his troops. And the story goes, as Radislas advanced towards Wenceslas, he saw by his side two angels who cried, "Stand off." Thunderstruck, Radislas repented, threw himself at Wenceslas's feet, and asked for pardon, to which Wenceslas responded and kindly received him again into his favor. We have no idea whether this legend or the legend depicted in today's carol have any specific truths behind them, but there is definitely something we can learn, or something that we can at least appreciate from the images depicted here of a good, kind king and leader. The tune of this carol was originally a 13th century Finnish spring carol titled "It is Time for Flowering." It was first published in 1592. It was briefly used with the Christmas text, "Mary gently laid her child," but was considered much too jaunty for that. Even when put to this text, there wasn't always a ton of love for it at first. Elizabeth Poston, who is an artist and pianist, in the Penguin Book of Christmas Carols, she referred to it as the, quote, "product of an unnatural marriage between Victorian whimsy and a 13th century dance carol." She goes on to detail how Neale's, quote, "ponderous moral doggerel does not fit the light-hearted dance measure of the spring carol, and it sounds, quote, "simply ridiculous to pseudo-religious words." Even the Oxford Book of Carols in its original printing criticized this text and tune, stating that they hoped it would, quote, pass into disuse. Well, it hasn't, and it's become a favorite of many. Thanks for sticking with me on that long roundabout journey on this one, and I hope you enjoy hearing this carol today.